Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is having a splendid Saturday thus far. I was hoping it would be a slightly better Saturday after the beginning of the first kickoffs in the Premier League this afternoon, with Palace taking a 2-0 lead and then deciding, you know what, I think it's better that we concede 5 goals unanswered in quick succession, I think. So yeah, it's not going too great for the City haters with the hate along. So, anyways, we've got a game to discuss where the haters will be prying on the edge of their seats. Manchester United haters, that is, for Newcastle tomorrow. Because I'll tell you what, St James's Park, Manchester United in their run of form, a disastrous goalkeeper, a disastrous attack, and up and down form with inconsistencies galore. It's a recipe for a massacre. Um, and it's the Easter Bunny that's going to do it. No, it's going to be probably the Barcode FC in Newcastle United. But I've got to say, Newcastle United, who currently sit fifth place, are only on goal difference, a game in hand behind Chelsea, could be on the cusp of finishing top four Champions League for the second time in 3 seasons. And it will be entirely all credits to them. Not just that, but also a potential promise of big summer investment. So, hey, if Newcastle are on the way up, big time on the way up, this is the season you start to see that them taking that journey. So, um, big ups to Trip Vic here. How we doing? Hope everything is good with you. Salute to you too. Um, how are we feeling about this game, Trip? Do you think United have a single hope in hell, or are we just? I'll tell you what. I did actually have a bit of a. I don't know if I should call it a nightmare. I suppose I should call it a nightmare because it is a nightmare situation, a nightmare scenario where I dreamt of us being only 30 minutes in and we were like 8-0 down or something, and they were just free scoring and Onana was in goal, and I was just like, oh my god, is that a sign? Is that a sign? Am I being given a vision? It wasn't a nightmare, it was a vision. The vision tells, it predicts the future. And I can't lie, it's got me feeling extra sour about this game because I don't really see an instance for United going into this and actually doing a really good job. But maybe that's just stacking the odds of fate against me, just for then for karma to come around and just be like, you know what, we'll give you a blessing. Maybe that's written in the script. I don't know. The football gods work in mysterious ways. Um, I suppose you feel the same way if you're a Crystal Palace fan. You know, you go 2-0 up and happy days, and next minute, you know, you're 5-2 down. So yeah, it's a difficult world to sort of get into the swing of things and really sort of feel a certain way with things going your way. Basically, big up Fuzzy Tom back in the UK now. He feels down because he caught the genital what's a burst of you know. Jesus Christ. Oh God. Maybe he can tell us all about it on the Sunday night takeaway show. He can give us a demonstration of another one. Can burst another one on the Sunday night takeaway show tomorrow if he's up to doing that. But big ups to you, Anthony. Your game later on tonight, mate. Brentford, Arsenal Brentford. How do you feel that game's going to go? We are losing for sure. This and the game will be stinky. Well, I'll tell you what, Trip, if you take Paul Scholes' word for it, taking a 2-0, 1-0 loss is not a bad thing. That's a good result for United to take away. I don't know if you feel that sort of sentiment or whether you think that's just an absolute load of bollocks. Personally, I think it's bollocks. There's no good result where United lose a game. That's just how I feel. Even if we are relegation fodder, I still don't think losing in any instance is a good result. But hey, Paul Scholes apparently is quoted to have said this. Apparently, I don't know if it's actually confirmed or not, but supposedly he muttered something along those lines. But I'd never sit here and say that United to losing a game is a good result for us at all. I'd like for us to be competitive and actually give it a fair crack at the whip. I want to see us challenge Newcastle. I want to see us push Newcastle to the edge and, compete for a win. You go there to win. It's a game of football. You start 0-0 at minute one, right? Unless you concede in like the first 5 seconds from kickoff, which is a possibility, but with an honouring goal that is. But still, I want us to at least make a good account of ourselves. Present yourself well and actually play to win. Um, I don't know if tactics are necessarily going to be our best friend in that regards, or the team selection probably may not be our best friend tomorrow. But I want to see a performance of a fighting spirit. People wanting to go up there for a proper punch up. I'm sort of quoting a bit of Long Ed Yeti with that. Just just go fight people. Just go for a punch up. Just kick some people's teeth and all of that stuff. And of course, saying hello to each other in the communities because we like the community here. The community is great here. Cordial people, or people cordial with each other. Arsenal 1-1 is Anthony's prediction for his game later on tonight. I'll tell you what is also a 1-1. It's Brighton-Leicester. They've just equalised, have Leicester. So there's a bit more fight in the dog yet. There's a bit more fight in the dog. Big ups to Adam to 2025. How we doing, buddy? Hope all is well with you. And here he is, Early Doors Football TV. Big up Fuzzy. How we doing, Tom? Hope the trip back to the UK was safe, or whether the flight attendants burst with a couple of your genital warts and all that. Not my suggestion. That was Anthony. Anthony said that. But good to see you. Hope everything is well with you. Right now, Forest and drawing Everton at home. Yes, must win. Must win, because it's that gap between the teams just outside of top four and teams in top four, minus Liverpool and some certain variants Arsenal. That gap is quite tight. There's only really sort of like 3 to 5 points difference, and with the way the Premier League's gone, that can change in an instant. So a lot of teams needing to win their games. Really, really needing to win their games. No way he said that. Scholes used to be a legend. Well, I tell you what, I suppose it's sort of the thing with the standard and expectation. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Paul Scholes said that, but at the same time, at first glance, it would take you by surprise. But maybe we wouldn't be like, oh, he would never, ever dare say that. In various cases, he probably thought, well, just look at the way the team is right now. Look at us compared to Newcastle. You know, if Newcastle really throw the kitchen sink at us, it's a long, long day. Really long day. But yeah, I can't imagine. I personally couldn't imagine if Paul Scholes actually quoted, had said that, but apparently, the rumor mill said that this is something that he was quoted in saying. So I haven't seen the quotes myself, but I'm sure somebody out there has got it catalogued. Anthony, I'm not back yet, so I know when I get back, I need to see the quacks. Big up Don Tony, the Don. Apparently, Leicester City have equalised against Brighton. Yes, they have. Brighton, not too long before that, took the lead through a penalty. And yeah, not a lot of goals with the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Closing in on half time, and there's only 2 goals, which has just come from one game. But Southampton, Aston Villa 0-0, Nottingham Forest, Everton 0-0, and then Brighton, Leicester 1-1. I think all the goals have been taken up in the first game of the afternoon. But yeah, I've got some rundowns of the lineups, predicted lineups, in accordance to to other individuals what they think the team lineups will be. Of course, looking at the predicted 11s, definitely would be some changes that I would make. And let me know what you guys would change with these teams. I'll go through Newcastle's predicted 11. We'll pick out players there that I think are going to be the biggest danger men and the biggest difference makers. We've got Pope in goal. Of course, Pope can sometimes have fantastic games. Sometimes he can have meh games, but a bit difficult to catch him on a cold day. So, if you got an attack that's not firing, that can't really find the back of the net to save its life, then yeah, I don't think Pope's going to have too much of a difficult afternoon at all. Livramento at left back with Dan Burn, Shaw at centre backs, and Kieran Trippier down at right back. Kieran Trippier can blow a bit hot and cold at times. I think Dan Burn and Shaw. Um, I think if you go more route one with Dan Burn and Shaw, they'll probably soak up a lot of the pressure. I think the ball does need to be kept on the ground a little bit more, and put the ball in behind for players to run onto with pace. We don't really have much pace, so there's not an awful lot that we can really answer to that. Uh, there's not really much that we can answer to that. We don't have much in the locker. Um, Joel Linton, Tonali, and Guimaraes. Pretty much the strongest midfield available for selection. It's entirely a predicted lineup, so very much prone to changes being made there. But probably, as far as on paper is concerned, one of the best midfields in the league. And there is a drop off, a considerable drop off, before you actually get to the point where you find where Man United's midfield is. Um, so yeah, it's going to be really, really difficult, and just the way that they play when they turn over possession in midfield, it's a bit more direct. I mean, I'd give Newcastle or Eddie Howe's style of play a lot of credit. Um, it does sort of give me more a bit like Sir Alex Ferguson vibes, because it's like there's no tactical genius about it. There's just a directness from players, and they'll use a bit of ingenuity to win games, to beat the opposition. Sometimes they're on it, other days, they'll be a bit sluggish, a little bit tired, a little bit fatigued. But you also will notice a stark contrast between proper Champions League grade quality players and then your Championship players in that team, because there are Championship quality players that feature in Newcastle's first team setup still. You can put that down to the lack of investment over the past 2 years, or past 2 summers, I should say. But hopefully that's a change in their camp. I'm sure this summer that's going to be a change. They'll have a lot more quality, so to speak, going into next season, especially now that they'll be back. I'm sure I back them personally to get into Champions League. They've got a game in hand over Chelsea. Um, so yeah, it's going to be a tight finish to the end of the season for them. But either which way, a promise of strong investment in the summer. They could look at just options of depth in their midfield. The attack, I think maybe you could boost that with a bit of quality. Almiron hasn't really been looked at as a replacement, the replacement for Almiron. I think he was quite a tenacious player down on the right hand side. I mean, you've got I think it's Jacob Murphy, who plays on the right hand side at the moment. And I think Jacob Murphy has some proper wonder moments in the Premier League and in other competitions. But from a basic fundamental standpoint, I do feel like sometimes he lacks a bit of an edge to his ability. So I think that could be a point of focus. I think the left-hand side of the front three probably not as too much of an issue as such, because they've got Anthony Gordon as the first choice left winger, currently out injured, and they've got a backup in Harvey Barnes. So he's got a bit of quality about him as well, has Harvey Barnes. Um, in various aspects, underrated. So yeah, it's a strong team. Of course, Isak up top features in that team. It's a very difficult, really, really um, difficult outlook. There's no easy part of that team for our team to deal with. I mean, I'll go through now the predicted lineups and changes that I would make absolutely in a heartbeat. So starting off in goal, first change I would make to this predicted lineup. It goes with Onana in goal. Not for me. For me, his season and his career at the club is done. Like it, as simple as that. That the absolute calamity that was that first leg of the quarterfinals of Europa League is an absolute shambles. You cannot come back from that. Altay Bayındır is fit. He can play. He can start. He's been on the bench for the past several games. Um, so for me, he comes into that lineup, and we can have a shot stopper. Now, he's not going to be the best shot stopper in the world, but when you get, you know, moments in the game where you expect a shot to be saved, or you expect a goalkeeper to come to claim for like a cross or a through ball, an area ball, just something, the basic things that you can expect a goalkeeper that has control of his box to do, right? And by and dear, I think we can, given a run of games, can sort of get into that groove. But first and foremost, first point of address or shot stopper. Get somebody who will save the most basic of shots, and that we don't sit here after the game and say, "Hey, our goalkeeper is the reason we lost," or the goalkeeper is the reason we didn't win a game. That needs to change because this has not just been an issue this season; it's been an issue last season as well. So pretty much the entire time that Andre Onana has been at this club, despite his first season, him getting into the contending. He was a contender for the Golden Glove, which is crazy. It genuinely is crazy. But absolutely, is the individual quality, composure, all the factors that are a must in a goalkeeper for the Premier League and Champions League and all of his other competitions. You just can't do what Anana's been doing and expect to not be punished for it. So, yeah, Bayern easily replaces Anana, and for the rest of the season, I'm sure we've got other goalkeepers in the setup that can also players' rotation to him. The back three features Mazraoui, Maguire, and Lenioro. I'm not really too fussed about who starts in the back three. I think individually they do like to. They do generally do a good job, the individuals of a back three, but I think with a high tenacity, a highly direct attack of Newcastle, which has quality in it, is a really difficult day for any defence. So with us, we need to see the individuals find good cohesion with each other and form a strong unit. And especially if they've got a goalkeeper behind them that they can trust, they can solely focus on their game. They don't have to think about what am I doing that's going to impact my goalkeeper. They can focus on just being as good a centre backs as they can possibly be. So yeah, no problem with Mazraoui, no problem with Maguire, no problem with Lenioro. Diogo Dalot is kind of the only option we've really got at the moment. Of course, I'd like that to change in the summer. I'd like to get rid of Dalot and bring somebody else in. Um, there's not really much else to say about it other than that. Dorgo on the left hand side. I think people are a bit impatient with him. I think because he's literally just joined us in January. At 20 years of age, to be told, yeah, you're going to now be the first team player in this particular setup, right? You're the first team player now. You've just come in at the age of 20 and straight away first teamer at Manchester United. There is no real plan B to you either. So, I mean, that just screams a a situation of crises with the playing squad, because I would never sign a 20-year-old that's not proven to be a first team star. Do you know what it does smell like? It smells like the signing of Rasmus Højlund. Sign a young kid, not proven at all, stick him in a first team setup and say, hey, he's going to lead the team in that position, in that department. Absolutely not. We can't expect Dorgu to, be lighting things up from the left hand side. He's got an inexperienced trait about him. We've already seen that with in the Premier League. Um, a bit rough around the edges as well. So got to give him some time to settle in, to bend himself in a little bit. But more experience will be needed in that team. More depth slash experience is probably um, the biggest factor that is needed, especially for this team, and the fact that we've also got to try and secure quality in that as well. A lot of factors for the board to focus on in the summer, in plugging gaps and fixing mistakes and, revitalizing this team. There's so many factors, and I suppose you've got to ask that question. Do we trust this board to be at all capable of doing that? Because we're looking at potentially 7 or 8 signings needed at the very minimum to actually address all of the issues that this squad currently has, and that's minus all of the outgoings. So we've got huge issues facing us, and the fact is that all the models of financials and you know being able to maximize the ability of spend, we'd have to qualify for Europa League for the next 4 years as a bare minimum. So winning the Europa League is the only option we have to adhere to those plans. See, if we don't, and we're completely, we're without Europe next season, some fans will tell you it's a blessing. Some fans will say, look, blessing in disguise. It focuses us just on the league and just get better with that. But the worst thing about that is the board have already told you their hopes of the success of this project is very much pinned around maximizing income. Not qualifying for Europe is a big chunk of income just dissipated. So you go another season, another summer of not maximizing your spend, go into the next season underwhelming, and without Europe, you're now fighting against the current that's dragging you out to sea without much to help you swim against the tide. This written in the stars that this is just going to get worse, right? The standard, the average of Manchester United will diminish given how dependent the board is put focus on the financial incomes for the club. So that's why you see a lot of scumbaggery with decisions and announcements. I mean, Eric Cantona talking very villainously about Sergio Ratcliffe, and I don't really blame him. He's always thought of himself as one of the fans. You sort of sympathise with the fans a fair bit, but to be honest, these are some dark days, and days might just get darker in the future. Um, don't really want that to be the case, but with Amorim's lineups are depressing. I mean, certain times yes, sometimes no. I do feel like there's a lot of times he'll pick a player and you just think, why would you? Why'd you pick him? Why'd you pick him? And it does put the focus on the manager. If somebody is causing you as bigger problems, like Onana is causing this team problems, um, you're just like, okay, well, it's information. Making this decision hurts. So to avoid pain, we don't make the decision. but then they continue to go back and keep hurting themselves. You're like, I can't like tell you any more blatantly that what you're doing is kicking yourself in the balls. I can't tell you that there's any other way you can do that that hurts any less, except you stopping. But sometimes, not just Amarin, but managers in general, go and pick a player again, and it's like, you don't really learn from this. It doesn't look like you learn from it at all. Only need three key signings: a goalkeeper, a forward, and a manager. Well, I can't lie. I mean, the midfield is kind of desolate. Midfield, we need an overhaul with to rebalance it. We need creative forwards that create opportunities as well as finish them. We need a striker with experience, that can actually hack it in the Prem, and with the younger players in the team, they can learn from that and actually integrate into a team properly. A goalkeeper, I think every football fan on planet Earth, even those that somehow don't know about Manchester United, would tell you that that club looks like it needs a new goalkeeper. Um, with just how disastrous the general feel about the club is. So I think pretty much all areas. I mean, we're going to get some centre backs probably leave the club in the summer as well. So defence, wing backs with Amarim's system. But if you go with a new manager, um, who is the manager? The problem is my trust in the board is so low at the moment. I can't look at any choice of manager and think, yeah, I'm confident in that decision. I don't trust this board to make any decisions. Full stop. Like, this is a major problem. It's still better than having Richard Arnold in charge, because he made no decisions. He made no decisions. You'd pressure him slightly and say, "Oh, this situation's not good, Richard. What are you going to do, Richard?" And he goes, "Well, I'll just do whatever appeases people." So you never really saw a leadership figure at all with him. And of course, the education behind these decisions, they weren't educated. They're like guesses, and not even educated guesses at that. So yeah, Richard Arnold's still, this board is better than Richard Arnold, but it doesn't fill you with any hope at all that if the manager should be changed, that there is any world where we pick the right choice that will actually give us what we need to progress as a football club. Because ultimately, to me, we're not going anywhere with Ineos in charge. We're not going anywhere with the Glazer ownership still here. Um, and we certainly won't go anywhere if we've got managers at a football club that are appointed because they just looked good. You might it's almost as if it's Arteta tax now. Oh, but he's a good-looking manager. We don't hire people because they look good. We don't do that. We hire a manager when they have a way of playing or they have an idea that we can get behind, and we can fully front and center that and say, hey, we will throw as much investment as we possibly can at this. You tell us what we need to do, and we will support you with that. It's like there's no consideration for what the manager wants when they appointed him. It was just, yeah, does he look good? Yeah. Is he young? Yeah. It was always going to be problematic because of just the hiring process, and I suppose that's what we really need to know, the meat and potatoes with, is what was the reason Amarin was hired, and then from that answer that you would get, trusting that it's an honest answer, right? And that's going to be difficult with these guys. That's how you will know for certain whether there is any reason to back this manager or not. Because if the board can't give you a straight answer, or if the board say, well, we got him because he was young and he was an upcoming manager, he's trendy, straight away you can say, so you didn't hire Amorim because Ruben Amorim had a way of playing that you wanted at this club. That's it's nothing to do with it. So then it becomes another issue where it's like, well, we're hiring people. We've spoken. The ownership has spoken in Sergio Ratcliffe about wasting money, right? And when we were first linked with Sergio Ratcliffe taking over, when he had a meeting and said, "Oh, the Glazers were nice people," like, and we were all just in complete disagreement with him. We were sort of like, well, you said that they're spending really poor money, like so much money, but it's all being spent so unbelievably badly. Well, that would be an admittance in hiring Amorim for reasons that don't have any relation to the system that he has being a reason why you hired him, as an admittance of saying we don't really know why we hired him. He was just young, he just fit a profile, and we signed him. So you're wasting money on managers now. Literally wasting money on managers. And if the players don't come good as well, then the recruitment story, despite hiring the alleged best in class to fill those roles, that's also wasting money. So the problems that you were speaking about improving and changing haven't really gone away. They haven't gone away whatsoever, and they've not even changed its tone. It's still the same issues. So you're not really gone anywhere with this. So 1 year of Ineos, 1 year on, and Ineos, the only thing they've really done that's hit home is stirring up negative emotion, is angering people, is taking people's livelihoods away, cutting off legends from a club, cutting roles at the club, and giving contracts to players undeserving, selling or letting go players where you don't maximise a profit. So, to be fair, hands up with this one. Um, it's difficult when you overpay for a player to sell them when they've declined at a club, sell them for profit, and also find a club that will take them on with their ludicrously inflated wages. Fair enough, any board's going to really struggle with that. But the pushing, the drive, the agenda, spending has to be smart. Spending has to be good. The recruitment, the aim for the recruitment is to be the best in the world. Is the recruitment currently in the status of being the best in the world? No, it isn't. So the goal for Ineos has not been achieved yet. But to achieve that, it requires investment. Are Ineos putting up investment to do that, to achieve that? Well, they sort of get halfway by saying Dan Ashworth was a mistake. We'll sack him. We won't get a replacement in though. We won't get someone to come into the board to fulfill that role and say, but he aligns with our vision. We thought we had it with the first candidate, didn't work out. Let's get the next one in. You keep putting up, you keep putting up, you keep putting out. If it doesn't work, try again. But we're not seeing that. So a lot of the initial endeavour from Ineos is not being lived up to. So we are currently encountering a massive lie, and we are fast approaching another summer transfer window, and it always feels like we crawl into a transfer window, And it's always the same story, like we keep getting pushed. This team needs investment now more than ever before. It needs to be the biggest summer transfer window. And we can't be saying that if this ownership is progressing this club. If it's progressing the club, even if it's by 1% each season, we don't say this summer transfer window is going to be it's got to be the biggest summer transfer window we've ever had. We don't talk that language if we are moving in the right direction. We talk about it because it becomes an increasing pressing need. It's a pressing issue. Hey guys, we're worse off we're worse off this summer than we were last summer. Last summer was needed to be the biggest summer transfer window ever. Well, this season we need it to be even more of a bigger summer transfer window than last season. And we're just saying the same thing every summer. And it starts to get more and more concerning because the board don't reciprocate. They don't say, we agree. We do need it to be the biggest summer ever. And we're going to do exactly that. We're going to go hell for leather, getting players out the door by any means necessary, putting investment into the club, putting our money where our mouth is, and doing absolutely everything. I mean, imagine if Ineos, the company of Ineos, actually released funds to Sergeant Ratcliffe to put into the club. I mean, because it's joint ownership, the Glazers might just say, well, you put money into our asset. Oh, bless you. I'm going to take that. Maybe they do that. But here's the thing. You can get Glazers forced out by constantly painting this picture, because at the moment, you've got one part of the ownership that's come in, that's aided the enemy of the club in staying, and the fans have gone a little bit quiet. They've only started sort of kicking up a fuss with the decisions of Ineos, and of course the Glazers still being here. They are still very much included with the unrest in the fan base. But if you want to be the fans' best friend, and it's not like Sergeant Ratcliffe has not just dismissed the idea of walking away from this project. That's still a possibility. And this is the thing. I've noticed this on other channels where they discuss this. As far as billionaires are concerned, they don't walk into projects like Manchester United with as many risk factors as it has and not have a planned escape route if it goes wrong. Now, I don't know how close to the exit strategy that the Ineos group actually are, but I can't imagine that all of what's happening right now goes exactly in accordance to the plan of Manchester United. I can't imagine it is. So, have there been discussions behind closed doors with the Ineos representation as to, guys, we might actually need to consider what our option B is here, because it's not going well at all. And from a financial standpoint, the plan that we had, financials can't be as flexible as people might like to think. And especially with a football club where it is as unprofitable an ownership as there probably is out there in the world. You don't own a football club to make money off of it. The point of owning a club is to spend money on it. So when you get businessmen that go to a sinking ship, right, and try to turn it into a business, well, actually, what you end up doing is sinking it a whole heck of a lot faster, because you try to make money from it, but when you make money, there's certain factors that you have to think about in order to get the return investment come through. But a lot of the time, to get return investment, that project as a football club needs to be a success to see the money come around full circle. And the money you put in, you should see the return investment in reflection to what you put in. But if you don't put loads of money in, if you only take money out, you're depending that the club be successful completely on its own. But we've had 10 years of people who don't know how to run a club, put people in charge that can't keep a club successful. So the part of the Glazers that they were hoping for has failed. Ineos come in with ideas and plans in accordance to finance, but the finance isn't working, guys. The finance is not, the math ain't mathing. So Ineos part of this plan is going towards failure. Can it turn around? Yeah, sure it can. But it doesn't show for good reading. It really doesn't. So how long down this garden path do Ineos lead themselves, or does this situation get before they have to pull the plug? There is no other choice. The hope. To be honest, I think the Glazers probably look at the Ineos ownership and think, "We're thinking this isn't going as good as we were hoping it would." Even the Glazers probably are surprised by how lackluster this ownership change has been, like really lackluster. And the Glazers it reviewed strategic options to try and get the idea of Ineos being a joint ownership to work. They wanted that to work because maybe there's something down the line that they can see coming where it's like, that is the biggest payday of a human being's life coming up, and we could be there for it. We just need someone to keep us afloat until we get there. Well, the problem is that they put the strategic review things going up because the money was drying up too fast. They couldn't keep the project afloat. They'd be getting chased around all over the place. They wouldn't be able to rest. Their asset would sink them. So they had to get out. It's either get out or get somebody who will save you. Well, Ineos came in and saved them. Ineos saved them. And now they're still here, but the impact of Ineos has not been of a satisfactory level. So ultimately, what can we say? Ineos might have to consider their options, and if the project for Ineos fails, then they're not necessarily going to go try and revert to a hedge fund again. They're probably going to go, well, fuck it, we have to swallow our pride here. We're just going to have to sell up. We're just going to have to sell up, and maybe there's an alternative opportunity in the football markets where we can buy the club, and then if the idea gets close enough, we'll buy it, we'll take control of it, we'll put that forwards towards that project, and then we'll make that payday, but we'll just do it with this club. Whilst then the other ownerships of Manchester United are figuring out the financial mess and the hole that they've been left in. And I think Qatar will still be waiting on the sidelines. They are. I do genuinely believe that Qatar are waiting on the sidelines. Just a specific set group of people that know exactly where they're going, where they need to get the funds from. They know exactly where they got to go. I do think that they are sat there waiting. And it maybe, with prying eyes, they're quite entertained with watching this bid that was more favourable and more successful. Just this ain't going well for them. It's not going well at all. So, with all that being said, fingers crossed that we do see the Ineos Glazer partnership, as my name suggests here, Glinios out. The Glinios project, hopefully, we see that they get the reality check that they so desperately need, and they sell up. They say, well, yeah, it's not sustainable for us. We'll hand it over. Does that guarantee that Qatar will take ownership? Not necessarily, but Qatar are probably the only asset that can really put forth a massive bid like what they were originally proposing. I can't imagine the value of Manchester United has increased. I don't think it's moved at all. If anything, I think it's probably diminishing slightly, gradually diminishing. I mean, you can't say that it's shooting up with the stadium. I mean, that a shovel has not been put into the ground yet, so there's not actions going on right now that significantly bump up the price of the club. So I don't think if they do turn around and say this isn't working, let's sell up. I don't think Qatar would be dissuaded by or have their confidence knocked by by a lack of not possessing the funds necessary to be able to afford the club. I think they can do it. They've got the funds there. I think the pricing might be near enough the same. I mean, the Glazers probably won't have too much of an issue because they've already received a big payout from Sergio Markov taking a portion of it, and I think they can easily force Sergio Markov to be forced to sell his shares. So yeah, I think it's it's a situation that I think can change very very quickly and radically. I do think it can change radically. So watch this space. I would say with that, watch this space. My Canva invoices come through. Um, yeah, it's my tool for using my thumbnails and stuff. So do recommend it. They've got a sick background remover now that actually works better than any background remover that I've had. Um, to sort of get things cropped and looking sharp. Um, and yeah, Brighton have taken the lead again against Leicester. Um, who did that? Oh, it was another Joao Pedro penalty. Two penalties for Brighton. Anyways, um, yeah, just as a finishing up of the rest of the predicted team, because I know I sort of got to Dorgu, and that's kind of where we went off on a tangent about Ineos and investment and stuff. The two midfielders are supposedly going to be Casemiro and Agate. I don't know. I think Fernandez is featured in that team, but Kobe Minu is back. He is training. He played, I think, came on the 83rd minute against Lyon. Will we see more minutes for him tomorrow? I think so. I think we'll see a few more minutes for him. But where does he feature in the team? Number 10, number 8. I think there's probably a likelihood that he'll go on to being used as one of the 10s, simply because that's what he was. The sub came from in the Lyon game where Garnacho was taken off, where he was playing in the 10, and they brought Kobe Miner on to replace him there. So they've gone with a Casemiro Agate. I personally think it might end up being something like a Fernandez Agate, but I don't know about defensive coverage. I do want to have pace and to match the levels of as close as you can with the midfield of Newcastle. So Agate definitely starts, but who you stick with him, I think is yet to be seen. They've gone with Fernandez and Garnacho as the 10s. Literally is exactly the same lineup as we had against Lyon, but I don't think so. I think there will be changes with that. I can't guarantee that it will be a Fernandez Garnacho 10 partnerships. As much as they've said that Højlund starts, I don't necessarily think that Højlund will start this game. I think Xerxes will probably start. I mean, he scored a goal um, in midweek. So I do think that there is reason. There is reason to start him. So yeah, I would go Xerxes up top. Of course, Bayern in goal. I'm not too sure about the midfield. A bit uncertain with that because I think there's too many too many variables with that. Um, and despite different selections of midfield, um, the differences are quite fine, very fine lines between different outcomes with the choice of midfield selection. So um, I'll let you guys decide. Who do you think makes up the 2 8s and the 2 10s? What combination for the players we have available? There's no Toby Collier either. No Toby Collier, no Matthias de Ligt still. Diallo is coming back. He's training again, but he won't be featured for a little while yet. Aiden Heaven, I'd imagine, is pretty much on the cusp of training again, and Lissandro Martinez, of course, out for pretty much forever. And Johnny Evans is dead, as we all know. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about the predicted lineups. What you guys think about the game tomorrow? You guys confident? You guys nervous? You guys not really too bothered about which way the pendulum swings? Um, and what your thoughts are on the summer situation, because we got a lot of transfer stories, flying around all over the place at the moment. So there's plenty going on with conversations, and of course, Matthias Cunha from Wolverhampton Wanderers posted out saying, "Hey, everybody, I'm going to decide what makes me happy in my future, not you." And then he very quickly deleted that post. So it sounds a bit like a lot of people probably saying, "Oh, come to my club, come to my club," and he's just like, "Shut up! I will choose what makes me happy." And that's that. Well, he said that, but then also removed it. So I don't know whether he said something that I'd imagine Wolves would probably have told him, "Look, don't keep that up. That's going to cause problems for us in the long run." Um, Plus, also, it could be a reflection of characteristic or a character trait that I think might throw up a red flag or two for some clubs. Whether that would be a Manchester United issue, whether they'd look at that, but ultimately, yeah, I think Cunha might be on the cards, might be a reality for United, as long as Chelsea don't decide to hijack every single club's deals in the summer, because we know that's what they like to do. They like to hijack everything. Um, and yeah, so that pretty much wraps up that. Of course, Delap as well. Delap's another name that's been mentioned. Relegation clause might get us a sign on him cheaper. But we asked the question, if it's Delap, is that the same? Is it just Hoyland 2.0? Is signing Delap really just a Hoyland 2.0 situation? Or is signing Delap a wiser move, a justified move? Let me know what your thoughts and feelings about that are in the comment section down below. Don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe. And yeah, I think also in the description it will show the StreamYard sign up package. Get $10 off your first sign up. And also it's a referral. So if I do get somebody use my link in the description there, it would actually send StreamYard to, put in $25 my way, which would be crazy. It'd be madness if StreamYard started paying me. But that is only if you use the sign up and use the link in the description there, and use the purchase the package and get $10 off the first. I think it's only the first month, or dependent on what the billing is. It might be the same offer, just with um, different rates of billing. Whether you do it by month, by biannual, or annual payments. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back definitely tomorrow, whether we will have the Sunday night takeaway show or not. I think Tony said that he's not quite back yet, but maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Not too sure yet. But if not for the Sunday night takeaway show, there will definitely be the match reaction that we'll have for you there. If we do have the Sunday night takeaway show, the match reaction will be pushed forwards to the Monday, which is when we'll do the reaction to the match for that. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for everybody that's joined in the chat and kept conversation going. And of course, big thank yous to all the support everyone shows and the love that channel gets. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and we'll catch you again tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Saturdays and the rest of the football, although all the games, barring the Brighton-Leicester game, look quite dull. Maybe you guys watch international football. If you do, then I'm sure you're much more entertained than you would be watching Premier League. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and yeah, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Speak to you all later.